Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're still in Algebra 1 Goal 3. This time we're going to be handling one-step equations, and specifically we're going to be dealing with multiplication, making sure we're used to all of the tricks of the trade when it comes to multiplication and also division. So you can already see here at first glance we have some setups that are both multiplication and division. I know some kids look at these two on the right and they look at them and see fractions, but we'll get to that in a second. First things first, since we are doing PEMDAS in reverse, that means, is there any addition or subtraction here? No, they're deliberately getting us used to the fact that multiplication and division undo each other. So the question you're asking yourself is, which one is this one? This is multiplication. How do you undo multiplication? What's the opposite? Division. So we're going to divide by 3, and like I said in the last video, what you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other. So V equals 28. There we go. Human calculator at work. Next up, this is multiplication as well. So we're going to divide by 3. Divide by 3. V equals 23. There we go. Now this is the one where a lot of kids get a little bit stuck. But the thing is that you read this as division. All you're doing is U divided by 3 equals 69. Well, what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So times 3 times 3. So U equals 207. There we go. My human calculator brain is working. Let's see here. Times 2, because that's, again, we're reading it as division. Times 2. So Y equals 4056. And that's how it's going to be done throughout basically all of this. And then it's just a question of how deep the nuance are you going to have. So for example, what happens if we have fractions? Well, we come in two particular flavors, and I want to be able to cover both of them so that we're comfortable with both of them. First things first, this is still straight up division, so divide by 2. And then we're going to divide by 2. Okay, why did I just put a 1 there? Because a 1 is going to be our placeholder here. What we have now is a fraction, which means we can do this fancy thing called cross reduction. A lot of kids are used to the idea of cross multiplying, where you're looking across and you multiply. What cross reduction does is you're actually dividing. So if I'm looking at 8 and 2, are they both divisible? Why, yes, they are. I can divide by 2, and then I can divide by 2. So what that means then is Y is equal to 4/9. Okay. Same thing is going to happen over here. I'm going to divide by 7, divide by 7. Cross division here, cross reduction. Can 7 go into 14? Yes. So V equals 2/5. Okay. And now for this one, the pièce de résistance, the thing that most kids look and say, Miss, just no. What I'm going to do for you guys, there's two ways that you can do this. I want to show you the one that my students tend to enjoy the most, which is instead of making this a one-step, which technically it is, I'm going to go through the effort to make it, for the sake of making it easier, and I'm going to break it into what's called a two-step. Because what I'm going to do is, since I know that this part is multiplication and I know this part is division, I'm going to deal with them one at a time. So I'm going to start with times 7 times 7. 4U equals, what's 27 times 8? 196. And then I'm going to divide by 4, and then I'm going to divide by 4, so U equals 49. That's what we're going to be doing over the course of this. So you're doing your denominator first, so we're going to do our division first, and then we're going to do our multiplication and undo it second, just to visually make life cleaner and easier to wrap our heads around. So again, we're going to take care of our denominator first, times 5 times 5. So 2U equals 50 divided by 2 divided by 2, U equals 25. And suddenly it doesn't look so scary because I'm no longer reading it as a fraction, which is something that middle school traumatized me over. Instead, I'm looking at it as two steps, multiplication and division. And you know what? I can do that. That's doable. Now let's look at our decimals. Again, we always want to make sure all of our skills are staying sharp. So just because we learned fractions in pre-algebra means we forget about them. Just because we learned about decimals in pre-algebra doesn't mean that we forget about them. So set up, set up, set up, set up. So we're going to multiply by 5, multiply by 5. This is where Ms. Dubois gets to test her human calculator skills. So let's see here, 125 divided by 5. 5 times 12 is 60. 5 times 0.5 is 2.5, so 62.5 is going to be my answer. Times 6.2 times 6.2. You notice I'm not even reminding myself. I just automatically know, oh, this is division. I undo it with multiplication. And that will be 12.4 times 5 times 5. We got the same one again. That happened in the last video. So x equals 62.5. We already knew that. All right, times 8 times 8. Let's see if we know what we're doing. That's going to be 12 times 8 is 96. And then 8 times 8 is 6.4. So 6 and 8 is going to be 104.4, I believe. You can double check that on the calculator for you guys and see if I'm wrong. And I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments if I am. Next up, multiplicative property with integers. So now we're getting used to our positives and our negatives. So same old, same old. If you have a positive times a negative, you're going to get a negative. If you have a negative times a negative, you're going to get a positive, just as a quick reminder. So set up our signs. Divide by -2, divide by -2, x equals positive divided by a negative is a -13. Okay, so far so good. Times -3, so I'm putting that negative with the denominator just so that I'm okay with it. Times -3, negative times a negative is a positive. 23 times 3 is 69. Next up, times -5. Times -5, okay, u equals positive times a negative is a negative, and 25 times 5 is 125. Next up, times 3, so that means u equals positive times a negative is a negative. 29 times 3 is going to be 87. Okay, then let's really go crazy. Let's do our positives and negatives and with fractions. Yeah, oops, this looks fun. All right, so we're going to divide by -5, divide by -5. This cross, remember, we're going to write it up here again. We're going to do cross reducing, which just basically is a fancy word for cross division. 5 and 10 divide, so u equals -2/3, because those are the only numbers that aren't crossed out. Over here, we're going to simplify this a little bit, so times 9, wish me luck, 49 times 9 in my head is going to be 9 times 4 is 36, 36 plus 8 is 44, divide by 7, x equals -50, let's see here, so that's 35 minus 4 is 91, -54. Okay, so far so good. And I know the human calculator is doing the human calculations. You can double check on a calculator if you need to. Let's see here. Over here, we're going to times by 5. Now here the negative, up earlier I had put the negative on the bottom. Here I'm going to put it on the top because I don't like negatives and I kind of want to save them for last if I can. Times 5 times 5. So 20 equals -2u, divide by -2. Divide by -2, -10 equals u, okay? Then this one, they're trying to play us now because the fraction's on the other side, but we knew what to do because we did it over here. Divide by 8, divide by 8, so cross reduce, which means cross divide. 16 divided by 8 is 2, which means u equals -2/5 because those are the numbers that are left over. All right, so far so good, and I think that's everything now, right? Yes, it is. So That's everything there is to know about multiplying one-step equations. Now, next video, we're going to handle both addition and subtraction in the same palette. It's going to be amazing. Look forward to it. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. See you in the next one.